kind of why I love collaborating with you guys. And it's just really nice to get the message out via ripple effect. And if you affect one person who affects another person and we can change their life, like beautiful, right? And what I say to my clients and more for myself, because of everything I went through with my own journey with my skin, I started to think about doing everything internally, which is what we're taught to do, help the gut to help the skin. But what about all of my environmental exposures that could be contributing to, not causing necessarily, but contributing to what I'm going through with my skin? And that's when I started to do this deep dive into more of like, well, I can't go and overhaul my entire life. It's not reasonable. It's just not going to happen for people. So where am I impacting myself the most with what's touching my skin? And to me, that was, well, I sleep a third of my life, maybe more, because I like to go to bed really early at night. So wouldn't bedding be a beautiful place to start? And that's what kind of led me to AIZOME. And I've been learning more and more, you know, as I speak with Megan time and time again. And then I started trying the sheets. And I mean, it's one thing for me to say that I've noticed marked benefits in terms of my sleep quality, thermal regulation, lack of itchiness. I think there's a lot contributing to the lack of itchiness, but this is definitely part and parcel. But my biggest testament is that I have a 6-year-old who co-sleeps with me, and she also spends time at her dad's during the week. And here's a 6-year-old with no background on plant dyes and organic cottons and textiles and all this kind of jazz. And her comment to me is, Mama, your bed sheets feel different. I like sleeping in this bed better. It feels better. I'm not so hot. So there you go. Coming from a 6-year-old
right.
who has
from
no
a
idea
6-year-old who did not need to do a deep dive into the science of it all. And we get this from a lot of our customers, especially those that are suffering from some kind of issue that might be how they found us. Some type of skin sensitivity, atopic dermatitis, psoriasis, even the temperature regulation, as you said. It's when you go for that search for bedding without looking for a type of bedding that's made for me or potentially helpful for my condition, and you don't find it. Or a lot of people come to us because they've seen those environmental exposures can be very stressful to learn about because we don't have a lot of control over these so-called environmental exposures. People are seeing a lot of the press about PFAS, for example, or what's being put in these water-resistant, stain-resistant, forever chemicals, potential exposures. So when you do the deep dive into that topic, it can provide more stress to your life, not less, if you don't know that there might be alternatives out there which you can rely on or trust.
And isn't this whole industry so confusing because people are always thinking, well, it says organic, so I'm making the better choice. But does the organic label necessarily deem it to be a better product? Well, maybe the way that the cotton was cultivated is all well and good. It was organic in the processing. But then what about the dyes and the colors that contain the petrochemicals and the plastics and everything that was applied to that organic cotton later, right?
After
and that's
the
where
fact.
people get greenwashed with labeling, right?
And the fact that we're so trained. So, I raised 3 kids. They're all over 20 now. But we're trained in the last 20 years to look for better food, clean, what organic means. And so when we see those labeling or selling us an organic textile, we think, oh, it's like food, but it's not. In the textile industry, organic may mean that the plant was grown organically or without pesticides. It doesn't tell you about the life cycle of that textile from the time it was cultivated to the time it reached you. And it's an unregulated industry as well. Textiles don't have to put on the label anything that was used in the making of that textile. And then I think when people realize that everything added from the point of making it into a textile to the point it's on the shelf is something like an antimicrobial, like a pesticide, like these azo dyes, like dispersed dyes, all of which, and it's not wrong to say pretty much all of which are petrochemical based or it's all chemistry, have been known to cause problems. PFAS, forever chemicals. You don't really have an option of a label to show you, I want to choose a textile that doesn't have these ingredients, right? Because there is no real ingredient list on a textile. So like you said, when you went to look at bedding, You might see something made organic cotton. It doesn't tell you really anything about the chemistry or the chemicals that may have been added to give it properties.